Yes.
You're pushing back on everything that we're saying. So what?
Well, because you're trying to fire me, and I want to work at this company.
First, I'm the CEO of this company. If I'm talking, don't interrupt.
And I've been trying to get to this point of working on MrBeast for a long time. Can I please have a second chance?
MrBeast has Crohn's. No, you silly Billy, not that MrBeast. That's not even MrBeast. I'll have you know his name is Greg, also known as Skitsy_VA, and he does not like being called MrBeast anymore. After going through a real baptism by fire, okay, he is now a veteran vampire slayer who does not frick around, so do not call him MrBeast anymore, okay? But today, we're talking about this MrBeast. As you guys know from the 200 videos I've made on the topic and the 2,000 videos that other people have made on the topic, MrBeast and his associates have really come under heavy fire in the past few months with lawsuits and a mountain of accusations, some with more validity than others. The movement against MrBeast has largely been led by one man named Dawson French, or Dogpack404. He's an ex-MrBeast employee that's accused MrBeast of faking videos, running illegal lotteries, abusing his employees, and even hiring a registered sex offender. The list really could go on and on. However, some of these claims from Dogpack have received a lot of criticism from people like me, as well as others who have noticed his sloppy and sometimes even bad faith accusations that he and his associates, like Jake Weddle and Rosanna Pansino, have poisoned the well with. By making unsubstantiated claims, these people have potentially ruined any valid allegations that need to be addressed by MrBeast in the public eye, because if Dogpack is lying about some things, unfortunately the public will kind of assume he's lying about everything, or that he has a malicious bias that affects his abilities to do objective research, which it seems like he 1000% has that and is, I'd say, borderline delusional about a lot of shit. Because as it turns out, there's been a major update in the situation. A bombshell video was released by a channel called Soggy Cereal called The Truth About MrBeast and Dogpack404, revealing things that not even Dogpack's biggest critics could have predicted. And this video would immediately blow up, and even MrBeast himself weirdly would comment on it, saying, "Finally, a video that doesn't spread baseless slander about me, LOL." Now, I do want to make it clear here, as for my involvement in this, before this video came out, I was aware that it was coming out. I had heard rumors about it, and once it was released, I wasn't able to watch it right away. But weirdly enough, I got a DM from MrBeast himself asking me if I had seen the video yet, and I was like, what? Why are you messaging me? So just keep in mind here before we go into this video, this is a video that MrBeast 1000% supports, and so there could be things in here that might favor him more than they should, even if some of the information is useful and does make it clear that Dogpack was full of shit on a lot of what he said.
As most of you have probably guessed by now, this video won't just be about this alleged fraudulent and manipulative asshole, it'll also be about this confirmed fraudulent and manipulative asshole.
So to start the video off, Soggy says that he's actually not trying to fully defend MrBeast or glaze him at all, and he still has several problems with him. In his words, the video is more so to call out Dogpack for his alleged lies, poor research, etc., as well as call out MrBeast for some of the legitimately questionable things that he's done. Soggy then started by tackling accusations involving former MrBeast employee Delaware. Now, Dogpack had alleged that Delaware was knowingly hired by MrBeast despite being a registered sex offender, and was referred to by Delaware because of the crimes that he committed. And as a result, he's not allowed back to Delaware.
Now let's talk about the lies spun by Dogpack and Jake Weddle, that MrBeast knowingly hired a registered sex offender, and while working at the company would refer to him by covert codename Delaware because of the crimes he committed there, and as a result is not allowed to go back into the state of Delaware, and that MrBeast higher-ups are using that nickname because they enjoy messed up insider jokes like that.
Now, Soggy cited comments from Jake Weddle, the guy who says, BBL Drizzy, BBL Drizzy. He was featured in that Dogpack video that talked about Delaware, and there he basically implied that Delaware wore a mask in all the MrBeast appearances to conceal his identity. To counter this, Soggy shows messages from Dustin Harris, a current MrBeast employee, who clarified that Delaware was simply a local Best Buy manager Jimmy found and hired. So according to Harris, Jimmy likely assumed that if Delaware was trusted to manage a Best Buy store, he would be capable of running a YouTube channel. Harris also reveals pretty clearly that the name Delaware was a nickname from his Best Buy days, and not a name that MrBeast had given him. Now, Soggy also makes the case that Jimmy was somewhat irresponsible in hiring this guy, and, you know, because Jimmy was younger, he may have not done background checks properly before he became the massive star he became today, when it's assumed he would do background checks now, which I think that argument is relatively understandable. I still think that checking at this point would be good, but it does kind of make sense on his face.
19-year-old MrBeast didn't do background checks. Was that stupid? Yes. Is Delaware a piece of shit? Yes. Should Jimmy take responsibility for making that mistake? Yes. But it wasn't this fucked up master plan by Jimmy to intentionally hire an RSO. It was a dumb mistake by an inexperienced adolescent starting up a business. And you don't need to take mine or Dustin's word for it. If someone did but a shred of research, you'd find this still publicly available, almost 7-year-old video on the MrBeast channel, where you can see Delaware as the Best Buy store manager before he was hired at MrBeast. And guess what nickname was embroidered on his Best Buy uniform? Delaware.
Now, Soggy also reached out to a guy named Garrett, another former MrBeast employee. Now, Garrett disclosed that his comments about Delaware, which were distorted and anonymized in Dogpack's videos, were actually recorded without his consent by Dogpack and amounted to, in his words, nothing more than casual workplace chatter.
Nothing you said had any actual facts behind it, as they try to construe in their video.
No, I don't, I don't think any of the stuff that we were talking about really had any facts or like evidence. It was just water cooler talk.
Now, on the topic of rigged competitions, Soggy accused Dogpack of deliberately omitting critical details in his accusations, which is a huge deal. For example, MrBeast competition live streams included descriptions saying that free entry was available on the company's website, with the only requirements being that participants were 18 or older and US residents. This is a very obvious detail that not only did Dogpack clearly see by showing the link he used, he actually seemingly doctored his own version of that screenshot to try to hide the description from anyone who would have read it otherwise, which looks really bad.
Dogpack claims they only informed people on the website that no purchase was necessary. But did you read the description? You know, the description which I got via the Wayback Machine, where it literally says free entry available on site? Oh, but wait, you never actually found the description of that video, did you? You just made it look that way by doctoring up this fake YouTube UI. So you'd be more convincing and it'd look as if you had access to the original video and description, so people would more easily believe you.
Now, Soggy did acknowledge a valid concern raised by Dogpack, the lack of a no purchase necessary disclaimer in one of the lottery video's descriptions. He seems to agree that this oversight made the event legally questionable and suggested that Jimmy should take accountability for it.
I finally found some proof that the first illegal lottery was in fact illegal. There was no purchase necessary in the description, no mention of it at all. Yeah, it was illegal.
But perhaps the most striking part of Soggy's video came halfway through, where he has audio of Dogpack pleading with the then Chief Operating Officer LaKoya Hill to keep his job at MrBeast. And toward the end of the video, Soggy also spoke with several MrBeast employees who had worked closely with Dogpack on the company's ideation team.
I'm LaKoya, I'm our COO. Part of my job is that you're pushing back on everything that we're saying. So what?
Well, because you're trying to fire me, and I want to work at this company.
I'm the CEO of this company. If I'm talking, don't interrupt me. And I am telling you this is what's happening, and you're telling me that I'm wrong. I am not wrong. I've made the decision. Here, we will take care of.
I appreciate that. Can I please have a second chance?
It's not.
Just, if I'm getting paid, just let me come in and let me try to be coachable. If Hoodie changes his mind, can I? And I've been trying to get to this point of working on MrBeast for a long time.
I wonder why he's trying to destroy LaKoya's life.
I think there are other people at the company. If I were to switch departments, that would be very happy to have me. I don't care about the salary.
It's not. No. It's not what happened, dude.
Or Doc Scara.
She's your hiring manager.
Or put a picture of his manager on his psychotic wall for no reason but personal spite. Coincidentally, all three of those people were in the room when Dogpack was fired.
I'm LaKoya, I'm our COO.
Car, we are still going to reimburse you.
This is the original contract and the original NDA. And so
It's like he's just doing all this out of a personal grudge. Yes.
We will lie if we have to. I mean,
of course.
I just try to be honest, I guess.
Now, it's also important to note that the COO here, LaKoya Hill, is the guy that Dogpack later accused of having some kind of misconduct going on, and we'll get to that stuff later in the video, but just keep in mind, LaKoya Hill is integral to this whole thing. Now, Soggy ends the video by criticizing Jimmy on making his sponsors have these fake bars that make it seem like the video is going faster, and it's deceptive to make it seem like, you know, the ad's almost over when in reality it's not, to get people to watch it for longer.
Stop with the deceptive shit. When you do a sponsor read, don't make the yellow bar go real fast best at the start to make the viewer believe that, you know, oh, this advertisement isn't gonna take long, I won't skip over it, but then at the end of it, make the visual timer suddenly run way slower. That's not just deceptive, I think that's pretty disrespectful towards your audience.
I feel like that in and of itself is not really a big deal. Like, that's the least of the allegations against MrBeast. There's more important stuff, which is why we need to get to things that Soggy got wrong and stuff that I feel weird about. Now, while the video does contain a few major revelations, Soggy fucked up. For example, he overlooks the fact that Chris Tyson was friends with Delaware before he was hired.
Charles was friends with Chris back in 2010, and they worked at Best Buy together for the next half a decade. This is actually how he got hired by MrBeast. When Jimmy's channel took off, he always went to that store as Chris's old pal prioritized the YouTuber.
Never watched, you need to, it's awesome. Everything they do is for a great cause. MrBeast, want my free shirt.
It wasn't until an altercation with their previous manager that they ended up hiring him in early 2018.
This video by Soggy in and of itself also, this is not something Soggy did wrong, but something interesting from it is that it confirms a story about LaQuia Hill, the guy that apparently fired Dawson in that audio recording, where MrBeast's company received reports of sexual misconduct about their COO, LaQuia Hill. They then conducted a third-party investigation, and subsequently they transferred LaQuia to Unilingo, which is a dubbing company that was separate from MrBeast, before they decided to move him back to the MrBeast company once that victim was gone. And at least according to them, it's not like they like cast the victim, or alleged victim in this case, into the shadow realm. That person just left the company, so they then felt comfortable bringing LaQuia back. That's their perspective.
We're gonna make sure that we do everything we can to look into it. Then we always hire a third party company, either a lawyer or someone that's like not here to like prove one person right or wrong,
Right,
but like a
unbiased
true
party.
unbiased
Yeah,
party. And so
that
then
makes sense.
like everybody talks to them, like the person, his assistant would have talked to them, LaQuia would have talked to them, and any person that they named as witnesses or potential proof of text messages, like pictures, anything like this company would have dealt with. And then they write a report and then they go, hey, here's what you should do, right? And so that's what they do. And then internally what we do is like, okay, the assistant, like, what do you want to happen, right? If it's this, if it's that, like obviously if it's found like he's gone, like that's not okay in any workplace, you know?
If it's like confirmed that there is something, then
like of course, like we're not gonna hang on to that, right? We said, hey, you won't have to see LaQuia again. We're gonna like move him completely out. It wasn't a secret. Like we moved him to a new company idea that we had. He was the only person in that company. He wasn't even on site. He wasn't working in the building. He wasn't anything like that. Like we just said, hey, we think this is a cool idea. Go figure it out. And so he went on his own to go figure that out. And then the assistant worked with us for a long time. And then when he wasn't here anymore, I think it was like almost a year after the assistant like had, you know, chosen to do whatever he wanted to do. Then we were like, okay, we'll bring LaQuia back to help.
Now, I will say, I think to shit on Jimmy here, if you're willing to move this guy from your main company to another company, but then you're going to move him back once the employee that complained leaves the company, I feel like there's enough liability there that maybe you just don't need that guy around, you know, like regardless if you know what happened or not, it might be good to just be like, we're done with that guy. I don't know. I'm not in the corporate world, so I'm kind of talking out of my ass here, but I personally, if I'm willing to move him to another company because of what an employee says, I probably would be like, I don't really need that guy around. Now, in this section discussing LaQuia, Soggy claims that Dogpack made life-ruining allegations of sexual assault and harassment against him, and he suggests heavily that Dogpack did this out of spite because LaQuia was the one responsible for firing him.
He also made life-ruining allegations against LaQuia Hill, who was the person that made the decision to fire Dogpack.
Soggy implies that Dogpack's goal was to destroy LaQuia's life. However, the core problem here is that Dogpack's allegations about LaQuia were largely not really false. They were confirmed to be somewhat true by Soggy's video and by another interview.
And there's so much behind the scenes with sexual assault, with rape, and with abusing employees. He's guilty of all of those.
Did you know about LaQuia Hill, or have you met LaQuia or worked?
I very much worked with LaQuia to the point where, I don't know if you saw my tweet the other day, but after that video came out, after Dogpack's video came out about LaQuia, like all of those memories just rushed back to me, and I was just like, oh my God, he was kicked out of the company because of sexual assault.
This was made very clear by Kara, who is apparently Jimmy's hiring manager, who revealed key details about the situation. Kara explained that the victim felt really uncomfortable around LaQuoya and actively avoided being in his presence, an indication that something serious may have occurred.
And he's like, yeah, I don't necessarily want him to be fired, but like, I don't want to be around him. I don't want to see him. Like, it's just really uncomfortable for me, you know? So we're like, okay, great. So like, I actually worked with him to come up with a list of like jobs that he wanted, because again, if the person who he's assisting is not here, like it's like, okay, well now what's your job? Like, so it was like we came up with everything he was interested in, like what he wanted to do and stuff like that, and move him into a different role.
She also corroborated some of Dogpack's research by confirming that Beast Co. responded to the issue by relocating LaQuoya to an off-site role as the sole employee. He only returned to his previous position once the victim had left the company.
And so he went on his own to go figure that out. And then the assistant worked with us for a long time, and then when he wasn't here anymore, I think it was like almost a year after the assistant like had, you know, chosen to do whatever he wanted to do, then we were like, okay, we'll bring LaQuoya back to help, because at this point there's no conflict anymore. So that's really what it was. Like, it was no, oh, we're gonna go hide LaQuoya over here, and like, I mean, even now LaQuoya doesn't work for us anymore.
Additionally, Kara also clarified that LaQuoya doesn't work for them anymore. Further confirmation about that came from former MrBeast editor Trey Yates in an interview with The Asher Show.
I mean, there are some smart kids out there for sure, but the parents need to know that MrBeast knowingly hired a registered sex offender, knowingly rehired a person accused of sexual assault, and those kids need to keep away from what MrBeast is presenting.
Yates claims that in July of 2021, it was officially announced that LaQuoya was taking family leave from the company due to his position as COO. However, Yates revealed that a MrBeast employee, possibly Ava or Carl, not really sure, he doesn't really seem to know or want to say, I'm not really sure why, he seems kind of unsure about his own memory, but they confided in him that the real reason was LaQuoya was caught sexually assaulting an assistant.
It was announced in the company that LaQuoya was taking a family leave, and that family leave occurred for a month. And then someone messaged me, and I don't remember if it was Ava, I don't remember if it was Carl or someone, but someone messaged me and they gave me the tip of, hey, LaQuoya's not been on family leave for a month. He got caught sexually assaulting his assistant. And I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
He took his leave July, and then it was confirmed that that happened in like August of 2021.
Now, Yates reiterates that LaQuoya's departure was directly tied to the sexual assault incident, which aligns with Carl's account of him no longer being employed there. While it is clear that Dogpack may harbor resentment toward LaQuoya for firing him, it seems like some of the conversation, at the very least, around LaQuoya, his firing, the allegations made against him being moved to a different company and then moved back, was valid, even if Dogpack's motivation was out of spite. Now, after this video came out, a lot of people wanted to talk to Soggy Cereals about it, because they were like, what's going on here? What's the deal? And Soggy mentions being paid for travel by a MrBeast employee. That's how we got all these interviews.
You obviously flew to America, right?
Yeah.
Did you cover those costs yourself, or did MrBeast in any way pay?
I'm gonna be honest on that. So I offered to do interviews to Dustin, and so I was the one who offered that, to want to do interviews. I reached out to Dustin about that. After he reached out to me, he said that he wanted to do an interview and maybe try to ask some other employees if they wanted to do interviews. But since it was last moment and very expensive, Dustin, as far as I know, paid for those, and not on a MrBeast card, because when I got at like the hotel, which they said that it was on the card of like literally his name, like his personal card. Not non-company cards.
Now, during all of this, CoffeeZilla would upload his own video discussing a potential crypto scam that MrBeast was involved in. Coffee made this tweet ahead of time saying, I reached out to crypto researchers, crypto project owners, and MrBeast himself to get to the bottom of recent allegations of shady crypto deals. What I found was a complicated mess. There were some people who claimed Jimmy did nothing wrong, others who claimed his team will ruin his reputation dumping tokens in this manner. I'll let you decide who you believe. Multiple times I contacted MrBeast to fact check or comment on the story. He declined. Instead, I got a statement through a spokesman, Matthew Hiltzik, and he reacted actually have a copy of the statement, and it is very like vague corpo speak, which it just reads as not good. Like, I feel like if MrBeast wants to actually respond to this shit, he has to say it himself. Like, this is not a great response, especially when CoffeeZilla has some very bad clips of him. These investments were made and managed in consultation with industry experts to ensure full compliance with all appropriate rules and regulations. The wallet is not owned or managed by Jimmy, but rather a fund led by respected and sophisticated managers. The fund closely evaluated and scrutinized hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, which resulted in several investments. Some have been more successful, others less, and others still works in progress. The fund's investment strategies apply the same rigorous standards as many other inexperienced investors in the field. Overall, the video that Coffee did isn't necessarily definitive dead to rights legal proof of Jimmy being like a scammer, but it does make MrBeast look pretty fucking shady because of his association with KSI and Logan Paul, and in particular, Logan's proven history of crypto debacles, particularly with CryptoZoo. CoffeeZilla puts it very elegantly at the start of his video. The answer about how this stuff goes and how it's seen will ultimately depend on you, but in this case, I'm you. He's talking to me because I'm watching the video, and I know that CoffeeZilla personally would jerk me off if I asked. He'd give me a good reach around. So I just got to say that I think that there's more to this story than Jimmy's letting on.
The answer will depend on you. If you love MrBeast, there will be an explanation at every turn and a scapegoat. But if you hate MrBeast, what I'm about to show you will seem unethical and like a clear abuse of fame for money.
Now, despite having a few things wrong with the video and things that I still have questions on, overall it still made Dogpack look very, very bad. And honestly, it did prove that a lot of people who previously called him out on Twitter and got flack for it were kind of in the right with their assertions that Dogpack is not the most honest actor in the world. Several creators like Nicholas the Oreo went on Twitter and did basically a victory lap hours after the video dropped. I'm feeling pretty vindicated tonight. I hope the guys who peddled MrBeast bullshit are happy selling out, while people like me got piled on for the last 3+ months. 80-20 might have been too generous. These guys threw everything at the wall to make the situation impossible to respond to. They sucked their air out of the room. Every week, another half-baked allegation came out just to pad the inevitable response docket. The amount of stuff they lied about and got wrong is far worse than I even knew. On the other side of the ring, however, as this stuff is coming out, things aren't looking as good for the people Soggy's video sort of blew out. Rosanna Pansino at first would just not respond to the video, and instead she smoked her dead father's ashes. Actually, Tom, Rosanna Pansino did not smoke her father's ashes. She merely incorporated the ashes into the soil of a schmannabis plant and then smoked the Mary Jane Lana that was produced from that plant growth. Oh, okay. Thank you for the much needed context. That changes everything. Now, Rosanna didn't respond at first, but while I'm recording this video, instead of addressing anything Soggy brought up, she ended up tweeting about a new lawsuit that's apparently been filed. New lawsuit filed against MrBeast company by a former employee. It alleges they're owed unpaid wages and more for violations of the Fair Labor Standards Act. I've personally talked to around 40 ex-employees who said they were overworked 50 to 70 hours a week with no overtime. And she also responded to anybody who responded to this criticizing her by calling them sexist. I don't even know. This woman is weird. I mean, I'm sorry. This individual is weird. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. Dogpack is still not officially responded to the video in any way. He probably will at some point, I imagine, because I don't think he's going to go down without a fight. But Jake Whittle kind of has responded, but also not really. He commented on the Soggy video saying, "Now I know what makes the cereal so soggy, Gluck Gluck 9000. Good one, Jake. Like, I understand if you want to say that there are things Soggy got wrong. One of the things I had a major problem with that I feel like not a ton of people are discussing was the fact that he kind of low-key slandered a guy named Cam Nuggets.
I think it's definitely fair to say that Jimmy knew about Ava Tyson's behavior.
Dawson, maybe look at the people you're working with. It's not a good look when your friend Cam Nuggets is revealed to be watching minors spread their assholes on Discord.
Now, Cam Nuggets, to shit on him a little bit, has been playing very, very fast and loose with the MrBeast allegations, and he almost deserves this. But at the same time, I don't like the idea that we should just make false allegations about people who make false allegations. Like, Cam Nuggets is retarded, yeah, but should we be implying that he himself is like a pedophile? I don't really think so. I feel like that may be a bridge too far. I don't know. I think it overall hurts Soggy Cereal's credibility, even if I don't feel that bad for Cam. Now, the people implicated here were not the only ones to have a bad day. In fact, it's far from it. After Soggy dropped his video, Reddit would have a full-blown meltdown of people that really, really love glazing Dogpack for some reason. It's strange because Soggy talked several times about his grievances with MrBeast and stuff he could be implicated in, but for some reason, these Redditors can just never be pleased. They need MrBeast to be this one-dimensional, pure evil villain so they can compare him to like fucking Darth Vader, which is, I guess, just classic Reddit shit, right? Soggy's new video is heavily biased. MrBeast likely paid for his flight to have an interview with his employee. Conflict of interest. Soggy, if you're reading this, Jimmy commented on your video for a reason. He knew of your video and of your interview and likely covered your flight. You either got used to be a part of his defense squad or you were willingly part of it. And I cannot fathom being so stupid that they don't recognize a billionaire as playing them. Yeah, the more Soggy's talking, the more he's admitting to very shady behavior. He attacks Dogpack for not doing research, and then he himself doesn't know who's paying for all of his travel, so either he's lying or he doesn't even realize how big of a conflict of interest this whole thing is. I'm actually flabbergasted. Now, I will say, to their credit, with that specific thing, there is kind of a conflict of interest there. I will say that because Soggy Cereal, he does have exclusive access to MrBeast employees, and I think that's a good thing to get testimony, but at the same time, it's very clear that MrBeast is pushing this video really hard. I mean, he fucking messaged me about it, he messaged Pyrocynical about it to get them to watch it, so there might be kind of like a, I don't know. I feel like there could be a conversation to be had here about the fact that MrBeast really wanting this video to be pushed might potentially be a part of him being unwilling to address certain things. And particularly with LaQuoya Hill, I think there's still kind of questions there, or criticisms at the very least to be made of MrBeast. Like, I'm still not totally sold, like, oh, he's totally innocent. I don't know if MrBeast was the one making these calls, you know, as far as getting LaQuoya fired or moved around, but it is kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. Also, for some reason, I will say the Dogpack Defense Force kept saying, well, at least Dogpack exposed him for the Chris Tyson stuff, which is just completely false. Like, Chris Tyson was already being exposed widely and condemned back in July before the Dogpack video even happened. Before anyone even knew who Dogpack was, Chris Tyson had already been thoroughly destroyed. Dogpack barely talked about Chris Tyson. Frankly, Dogpack kind of took advantage of that controversy to promote his initial video, which he himself clarified had like nothing to do with Chris Tyson. So, you know what? Looking back now, after the Soggy Cereal video, to me, it's clear that he did use the Chris Tyson situation to launch his own crusade against MrBeast. And while at first I was like, all right, he probably has some good points against him, and there might be a few that you can pick out to this day, the majority of his claims against him at this point, especially from that first video, seem really fucking bad. Like, they just don't seem good. And then you have the third video he made about James Warren, where he basically slandered that guy, as far as I can tell anyway, and it's just not looking good. Because at the end of the day, what Dogpack did is he used the Chris Tyson controversy to launch his basically like deranged, error-laden, dishonest campaign against MrBeast because he was a disgruntled, fired employee, and I think that much is kind of clear.
Why is he around? Certified lover boy, certified.
Hold on, let me turn off the music. I'm outside MrBeast's studio right now. Here's a cornfield. I'll explain that tomorrow. I've just been driving by looking to see, you know, is there an FBI raid going on? What's happening? My name's Dawson. I worked at MrBeast from February to May of this year, 2024. Chris is the tip of the iceberg. And when Jake the Viking says MrBeast knew, yeah, MrBeast knew. I heard many times that Ava, Chris Tyson, is a major liability, but they can't get rid of her because she's already threatened legal action and she knows too much. And when all this information comes out about everything that she knew, everything other people know, I promise you on everything MrBeast has done. Amazon, if you can get your money back, get your money back.
Now back to the idea of MrBeast reaching out and a potential conflict of interest. A few days after the video dropped, several creators came out to talk about how MrBeast was apparently reaching out to them to watch Soggy's video and being like, have you seen it? I mean, I mentioned Pyrocynical. He confirmed that he reached out to him.
I got a DM from MrBeast. Now, to receive a DM from MrBeast could be the most controversial thing to ever happen at the minute, considering, again, all the allegations against him and the company. Now, even though he's in a lot of hot water at the minute, I still wanted to, like, respect the privacy of the DM, so I did ask him beforehand. I said, hey, can I show this like on a stream or in a video? And he basically said, I'd prefer if you didn't, but if you felt like it was necessary, then sure, go for it. So you can see the actual DM here. He's saying there's been a lot of disinformation around me these past few months, and I feel like Soggy did a good job hitting a lot of it with facts. Would love if you covered it. Heart emoji. Didn't know you rolled that way, Jimmy, but you know, fair enough.
As I said, I fully believe that MrBeast messaged a bunch of commentary people because he messaged me. We made it big time, boys. Okay, Mr. Breast finally officially acknowledged me in my my chuddy life. And Soggy actually reacted to MrBeast reaching out to the creators and was not really in approval of that. Wait, he texted him? I saw Pyro reacting to it on stream, was excited, but just him texting in my video feels scummy again. He has to address things himself, not just forward my video to other people. Like, I literally talk about the things in my video he should still address, instead of just sending it to other people. Yeah, no, I don't like that. I guess he has a right to do so, but I'd rather see him respond himself instead of trying to use my video in a way that I didn't want or intended to be used. Obviously, this is a very fair worry from Soggy. MrBeast reaching out to other people doesn't really give Soggy a great look, and it could lead many people to believe that he could be some sort of plant or paid off shill by MrBeast, and he's some sort of like controlled opposition to vindicate his name against Dogpack, which I would guess when Dogpack responds, that's going to be a big part of his ultimate response to the situation, and MrBeast kind of showed his hand there. Now, the next day, Soggy actually made a whole thread addressing this, where he said, there are some things that have come to my attention that I found concerning. The one I personally feel most disgusted by is MrBeast DMing my video to creators instead of taking accountability for the serious allegations he needs to clear up. He has confirmed done illegal things. Has he confirmed done illegal things? I'm not... Wait, what? Has he confirmed done illegal thing? I have not seen that. And showcase scummy behavior. He still has to respond to not just from my video, but also from other videos. Most notably, the serious allegations regarding his crypto. Did he even watch the coffee? The coffee says there's no definitive proof he did anything illegal in the video. Did Soggy even watch this? If he can DM my video to other people because it's not baseless slander, he can DM CoffeeZilla's video to other creators because it's also not baseless slander. Same thing with his comment he left on my video, which people think is deleted. It's not. It just sank to the depths, probably because it was rightfully bombarded with dislikes. I'll provide proof. Now, Soggy went on to write more about the crypto thing where he said Coffee's great coverage on his very shady crypto behavior is again not baseless slander, so that comment should be on his video as well if he wanted to take some form of true accountability. The added lol to his comment also shows a disregard for the gravity of the accusations he has to respond to. I'm not just disappointed in the recurring pattern of Jimmy not taking accountability, not just for the past few months, but that again is happening right now. I also feel used since it seems like he's using my video, which I created to inform people of Dogpack's untrustworthy nature, as well as hold MrBeast accountable for shit he should be held accountable for, as a shield, which I hate, because if there's one good thing that came out of Dogpack's videos, it's that it removed Jimmy's golden boy / Boy Scout shield that had been protecting him from criticism for years, a shield that no one should have in the first place. To see my video be commented on and DM'd to other creators by him to potentially build that shield back up just makes me feel disgusted and used. Now, this led people to start making a lot of speculation as to why MrBeast is reaching out to so many people, because, like, why would they not question that? I mean, obviously he wants to clear his name, but there are still unaddressed things from Soggy and several criticisms that MrBeast has yet to really address in depth. I don't really know if that's going to happen, but I think he should. And recently, Pegasus, who made a bunch of videos all about these allegations, also made a statement on his channel where he said, "So I talked to MrBeast behind the scenes in a couple of calls. We had a real, genuine conversation about everything. Jimmy admits he did a lot wrong, but also wants to clarify a lot of the misinformation and lies about him as well. We had a call off the record. We agreed not to record, where he had a few responses that cleared up some confusion and helped his case. We then set up an actual interview to post on the channel today, and I asked him about every single allegation. I prepared questions for the last 2 days. He seemed really excited about finally getting his perspective out there, but literally last minute before the recorded interview, his team canceled and said they wanted to do an in-person interview rather than an online one. Spoilers, I don't live in America, so we can't do that. I personally don't think it makes a difference at all, and you guys wouldn't really mind an online interview. We just want him to respond." He then apologized to me for wasting my time, but yeah, that's what happened in the past few days. If he changes his mind, I'm still down. You can expect a fair interview with hard-hitting questions. I'll keep it real and will not bend for bigger YouTubers. It means nothing to me. I still think it's best to do it on this channel specifically, as it's been at the forefront of the drama. So I'm going to push back on that a little bit because Pegasus has uncritically pushed a lot of shit that Dogpack has said, and while he will say it's all allegations, he hasn't questioned a single thing that Dogpack has said about MrBeast or pushed back on him, and he hasn't covered a single criticism made of Dogpack. So the idea that a sycophantic audience that believes every single claim about Jimmy is true would be like, okay, yeah, MrBeast is just right now because they see him in an interview. I think that's retarded. There are other people who have decent sized platforms who have covered this much more fairly. I do not think that Pegasus is that guy. Like, if you're willing to cover the claims that Dogpack made about MrBeast, I think it also makes sense you should be willing to cover some of the criticisms made of Dogpack, because there's a lot of them, like with the James Warren video that was totally fucking botched and he removed it himself. Or for example, just covering what Soggy Cereal said in this video. Like, you could just cover that, Pegasus, and for some reason he won't, and I don't really know why. But I will say the fact that MrBeast is reaching out to YouTubers for full-on in-person interviews to clear his name could be absolutely fucking huge. More Pegasus may have been rejected, but I think it's a fair assumption that Jimmy probably has reached out to several people for potentially a in-person interview. He kind of did the same with reaching out to get commentary people to watch Soggy's video, so why wouldn't he when it comes to interviews? Why wouldn't it come out? Now, full disclosure, I have not been reached out to. I don't have a MrBeast interview. If I did, I would probably show up dressed as a baby and shit my pants and then ask him questions, so I understand his reservations about that. But ultimately, I still think there are unanswered questions from the Soggy video, as well as regarding a potential conflict of interest with MrBeast pushing this video so far. Ultimately, if there's anything that I hope this story can teach you guys, it's that there are no true heroes and villains. Dogpack propped himself up as a hero who was saving the YouTube community from MrBeast, and ultimately, he had a few good points, but after a lot of analysis and after, you know, months of this drama going on, a lot of his major claims have basically fucking crumbled into dust. But at the same time, Soggy Cereals has also made a few missteps, and I don't think that he is, you know, a perfect person by any means. I don't think that he being the anti-Dogpack means that he's the real hero of the situation. And Jimmy himself is certainly not a hero. He is a complicated person. He's done some good, he's done some bad. I hope that for a lot of things, particularly what I'm curious about is Chris Tyson and how much you knew about Chris. I'm very curious how forthcoming he'll be in the future with other responses if he does those, as far as Chris Tyson, as far as the wallet stuff, as far as other claims that have been made about him. You know, I think there's a lot to criticize him for, and I think that that should be noted and it needs to be talked about, frankly. But at the same time, you know, this idea that MrBeast is just this all demonic force has always been ludicrous to me, and I'm very thankful that I didn't play into that too much, because it would just be retarded of me. It would be retarded of me. And you know, I do feel a little vindicated in that Dogpack is getting a lot of criticism now, because I think that he deserves it for a lot of his poor research and frankly straight up omitting certain things and lying intentionally or unintentionally. I think it was probably intentional because he had a grudge, but I think that, you know, is a really big deal. But at the same time, there are certain things that he brought up that I think could still be talked about and are interesting and will make for, you know, some interesting stuff if MrBeast does an interview with someone else. So yeah, that's basically my take on that. There are no heroes, there are no villains, there's only gooners and edgers, and it remains to be seen which one Jimmy is. I think we know about Dogpack though. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye.